For the average American, $15,000 is a lot of money. And if you guys are not already doing this for your listings, please, for the love of God, start doing it. You as a seller, this is what you're looking for. You want a company that has a lot of agents out hustling to find you a buyer. You are an advisor. Your job is to advise. A small tip I would tell you guys that's not in this list, but you should be doing. So what happens after you list a home and you're servicing the listing, right? How are you going to get your listing sold? Some of you are transitioning from being a buyer's agent to being a seller's agent. Some of you have been in the business a long time. You're just trying to figure out how to cope with this market. Maybe some of you watching me right now, you're sellers yourself. You're selling your home. So what I'm about to show you is a couple of simple things that we do so that we can get homes sold in any market. Now, sometimes agents have a fear of talking to their sellers. And if you're a seller yourself and you're watching this, you're probably like, how come my agent only texts me? How come my agent doesn't call me? You know, that's one of the most frustrating things for home sellers regarding realtors' behavior. If you were to be working with a doctor, an attorney, really any other professional, that professional is going to give you some sort of report as to what's going on. And it's not just going to be a text, hey, Weikert's coming over today, right? That's really frustrating. So what we like to do, and not only is this something to help our sellers sell their homes, it's also something I like to share with home sellers at listing appointments. Because chances are, if you're going to an expired listing, they never received service from their previous agent. So you want to do something different. You want to be a different result for your clients than what previously happened for them. So my favorite tool is something that I call a weekly market report. And when I'm talking to sellers, I ask them, did your previous agent provide you with any type of professional report as to what's going on? And typically they say things to me like, oh, they sent me something from Showing Time, CSS. I'm not talking about automated feedback from a virtual entity. I'm talking about you spending time selling your listings. Professional report, it goes out every Tuesday, every week from the day you list the property. Why? Why are you doing this every week? Because it is your duty for the amount of money that you are getting paid to be in contact with your seller. They have the right to know what's going on with their home. So you should be listing out to them every action that you took to get their home sold, whether it was you yourself or someone else on your staff that you're paying to do it. You should be including all of those efforts in your report. And the way that I present this to sellers at a listing appointment, I ask them really simply, because this is what's on everyone's mind. If you're getting paid 3% for a $500,000 home, we're talking about $15,000. For the average American, $15,000 is a lot of money. They want to see more than just your random text message every once in a while when you remembered them. That is highly disrespectful to someone who's paying you this type of money. So instead, what you want to do as a professional is give them an actual accounting of what they're paying for. They deserve to know. So what did you do? And if you guys are not already doing this for your listings, please, for the love of God, start doing it. Your clients deserve better. Number one, submitted your home to the multiple listing service. That's a given. That's obvious. Unless you have a listing contract where your client has asked you to sell it off market, your home should be going on the MLS. It's the best exposure for the seller. It's the most likely to get them multiple offers. It's the best way for them to get top dollar. If you don't have access to the multiple listing service, then you need to partner with someone who does. That is a bare minimum. Promoted your listing at weekly company meetings. So at EXP, we have 100,000 realtors, and all of our listings are going into workplace chat in various different private networks aside from the MLS, where all of the agents across the country with EXP are seeing the homes for sale on a daily basis. Now, if you want to take it one step further and say you are selling a luxury property or a land and ranch property, EXP also has private networks for those agents that specialize in those niches. So when you submit your property, your new listing to the EXP Luxury Network, every other agent who operates in the EXP Luxury Network will see that new listing, that new home. You as a seller, this is what you're looking for. You want a company that has a lot of agents out hustling to find you a buyer. I'm not going to say it's bad to work with a boutique, because some boutiques really specialize in a certain area. Like, for example, Allie Beth Allman. I think she's one of the best boutiques out there because they really know what they're doing in Highland Park, Texas. For most of you, you're not a specialty niche property. You're going to want to choose an agent that has a big network of other agents who are out looking for buyers for your home. So number two is you definitely want, as your agent, to promote your listing within their company. Number three, contact all buyer leads, center of influence, past clients, local brokers, and basically anyone in the community that the home is for sale. So what does this mean? A brand new agent has no center of influence? No, a brand new agent should have a team behind them or a brokerage behind them that they have buyers they're working with, past clients they've worked with. I wouldn't necessarily rule out a brand new agent, because some brand new agents are really hungry and they're going to hustle harder than any agent that's been in the business a long time. But you do want to ensure that they are backed by a company or a team that does already have presence in the community. Number four, develop the list of features for brokers to use with their potential buyer. Good agents understand keywords. What are keywords? Saltwater pool, close to parks, top rated school district. It depends on what, unique properties you have, right? Whatever is a key feature for your home, your agent should understand what words are targeted on Zillow and the other websites that they should be highlighting in order for your home to be clicked on more, in order for the home to be seen by more brokers, in order for the other brokers, the buyer's agents, to be able to accurately describe what makes your home valuable. Number five, update you, the seller. Your agent should be updating you, the seller, with all changes to the marketplace. So what does this mean? You as the agent, you have a duty to tell your client if the market has depreciated. You cannot just hide your head in the sand and say, you know what, it's okay, they'll figure it out on their own. Instead, it is actually in their best interest for you as their guide, as their advisor, to share with them, hey, here's the data. In the last 45 days that we've been working together, homes in your county sold for 3% less than they did last month or 2 months ago. You have to share that information with your client so that they can make educated decisions in their best interest. It is not okay for you to just hide your head in the sand and say, oops, oh, well, they'll figure it out. You have to be okay with sharing this news with them. And I think that number five is probably the hardest thing for most agents to do, because a lot of agents are under this mindset that asking for a price reduction or sharing information about the market going down is in some way rude or distasteful to your client. It's not. Instead, what it is it's providing great service. You are an advisor. Your job is to advise. Number six, targeted online exposure through SEO marketing. I mean, guys, we're in 2025. The truth is, like 80, I think I saw the most recent report from NAR was 87% of homes are found online. You have to have, if you're not already someone who's savvy with how to use social media, you have to hire someone who is. Your listings need to be properly marketed, and that's not just good pictures anymore. Is it showing up on TikTok? Is it showing up in YouTube? Is it being properly marketed through SEO, search engine optimization, to where buyers who are looking for that home are being fed it through SEO? So that's a given, especially if you're doing luxury. If you are selling luxury homes, you need to have a social media team. I personally work with an excellent one. I'm happy to share that team with you. Just go ahead and send me a DM or an email to the email I shared with you guys earlier, or drop a comment. I'm more than happy to share them with you. All right. So additional online exposure through social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Obviously, this is a little bit old. Twitter is now X. YouTube is the #1 search engine in the world. It's owned by Google. That listing has to be on YouTube. It has to be. Number 8, placed an advertisement on Facebook, Instagram, X, or YouTube. So again, this is spending more money on social media advertising. I personally go through Property Panorama for some of this stuff. And I also use the EXP Luxury Portal, which provides a lot of tools for placing these ads. A small tip I would tell you guys that's not in this list, but you should be doing: when you post to your local Facebook groups, you're a realtor, you're going to get flagged. What you should be doing instead is asking your client, who's the homeowner, to post that property in the local Facebook groups. So what do I mean by that? Every HOA is going to have their own WhatsApp chat. They're going to have their own Facebook group. You have to ask your client, because your client won't get in trouble. They're the homeowner. You're going to see this all the time. Actually, it's very common now. They post a few pictures. They say, hey, my home is about to go on the market. Here's the price. Reach out to my agent if you're interested. That will never get flagged. It's always going to be okay. And it's a wonderful way, actually, of promoting the property. Number 9, call buyers to invite anyone they know interested in seeing the home. You guys should already know how to do just listed phone calls. If you can get targeted lists of local tenants who are paying more for rent than what the mortgage would be, you have to learn that script. You have to learn how to talk to that potential buyer. Hey, I noticed that you're renting this property for $3,500 a month. Did you know that if you were to secure a loan today, that it would only cost you, based on today's rates, $2,900 to own this home? Have you thought about becoming a homeowner? I see that you like the community. May I set you up with a lender to see what would be possible? Would you like to see the home? You should be making those calls on every home you list. Not only is it a duty that you have for your seller, it's also another great way to help wonderful people learn more about real estate. Help them to become homeowners. Number 10, this is a given. You have to complete professional photos. Ma'am or sir, if you are using your iPhone, I need you to hang up and go back to real estate school, or just give someone else your license. That is completely ridiculous. I don't care the price of the property. It's $150 to $700, depending on what kind of photographer you use, to shoot professional photos. It is the bare minimum of what you should be doing. I list $130,000 properties all the time because I'm here in a part of Texas where we do still have a lot of those. I'm going to spend $250 on professional photos. It's a duty that I owe to my client. Number 11, prospect neighbors for potential interested buyers. So that's very similar to number 9. And then I'm also going to add number 12 for you, which is going to be complete a professional video. You can shoot a video on an iPhone. Actually, they're not terrible. However, you do need it to be professionally edited and then placed onto YouTube so that it's searchable. I personally prefer to use a professional videographer, and a professional editing team because it does look much cleaner. But I understand not everybody has thousands of dollars to do that. So at least shoot a video on your iPhone if that's all you have to get started. You have to do video marketing in today's market for your seller. Okay, number 13, I'm going to add. If the home you are working with currently is an expired listing, it was previously on the market and failed to sell, you are going to have to get that property staged. Why does that property need to be staged? It has to look different than it previously looked if you want to get the price it was previously listed for or more. And yes, we do that all the time. I have sold a number of homes that expired at $550 and sold them for $585, $600. And the key is to making that home look completely different in photos, in person. I have had people who saw the home when it was first on the market come back later and say, oh my God, like they bought the house the second time for more money and didn't even realize it was the same home because of how different it looked. And if you yourself go into that house and you notice cat smells, cigarette smells, paint that's failing, you have to have the guts and the courage to tell your client to do those things and take it one step further. If you're a great agent, have people on staff to take care of it and bill them at closing. There's going to be a lot of sellers in today's market that just simply, they do not have the money to pay for those things. And if you know that smell is the reason why it's not selling and that, that house needs to be repainted so that it doesn't have that smell, have a painter on staff who will paint the house so it can get sold and get paid at closing. So again, since listing the property, we have done the following. It just took me about 20 minutes to get through that list. That's a great thing. When you're explaining that to your sellers, they're going to look at you like, nobody else did this for me before. And they're also going to start to understand the value and why they are paying you what they pay you. They're going to start to see you as a professional that you are and not as the realtor overpaid and under delivers. That's what the general public, that's what the American public thinks about us, that we are overpaid and we under deliver. Once you actually start doing all of these things for your clients and explaining to them why you're doing it for them, they're going to be you as a professional and they are not going to argue with you on whatever commission you are charging. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but my minimum standard is 4%. I get paid 4% on every single listing I sell. I will not take a listing for less than 4%. And I rarely ever have people argue with me because when they see all that we do is versus what they've previously experienced, they're generally like, where is the pen? I'm ready to sign. All right. So under that section, under the section of since listing, we have done the following is going to be the next section, which is results. So this is at the end of the day, especially if you have a driver client. A driver client does not want you to talk for 20 minutes about everything you're going to do. They just want to know, did we have showings and are we getting an offer, right? I would say that's the majority of most clients you're going to work with, but especially driver personalities. They're like, I don't care what you do, just get me my price, right? You guys ever had the seller talk to you like that? Truthfully, most of us feel like that in our lives too. We're like, I don't care how you pull my tooth, just make it stop hurting and make it look good again. Same thing for home sellers. So the truth is, most of them do want to know what the general public is saying about their home. So feedback. In here, you're going to put how many showings there were, how many people, if you had an open house, how many people came to the open house, and then you're going to put offers. Now, I have a script for this. If you have an assistant and you don't want to make these calls yourself, like if you're somebody who has 20 listings in your inventory, you don't have time to do that. What you would want to do instead is have your assistant call. And I do have a script which I can share with you. You can email me and I'm happy to give it to you. Basically, the script is this. If you want to write it down, I'm about to give it to you. On Tuesdays or on Mondays, you're going to pull up the list of everyone who has shown your home. So I'm going to use a fake person. For example, we're going to call Bob from ABC Realty. I'm going to be me, the agent who has the listing, and I am going to call Bob and ask him for feedback. Okay, so this is you calling about your listing at 123 Banana Street. Hey, Bob, it's so happy you picked up the phone. This is Jessica Nelson over at 123 Banana Street. Just curious, did you guys have any trouble getting in the property? Question number one, were you able to get in the home? That's question number one, guys. Bob's going to say something like,
oh, yeah, what day was that? I've showed so many homes. Oh, yeah.
you know what, Bob? I see that you were there on Thursday with your clients. It's the house with the white door and the red shutters. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Okay, great. By the way, this is how the majority of your conversations are going to go with agents. Your second question, when can I expect to receive your offer? Why am I asking such a direct question? Do we care if they liked it? No, we don't. We could care less if they liked it or not. We care about one thing. There is only one thing that your seller actually wants to know. Are they making you an offer? So when we ask that question, two things happens. Number one, we create a sense of urgency because most agents, if you get a phone call from a listing agent, you think, well, they must already have another one. So now you start to think, I got to go back to my buyer and ask them because they did say they like that house. Number two, you're asking a skilled sales question. Again, guys, 3% of 500,000 is $15,000. No one in their right mind should ever pay you that type of money if you're asking, did you like it? That is not a skilled question. So the second question you're going to ask, repeat it with me again. When can I expect to receive your offer? What do you guys think usually happens when you ask the buyer's agent that question? They generally get very quiet and very confused because they're like, oh, majority of that, 68% of agents showing homes have never actually sold a home, according to NAR. So they don't even really know how to ask their buyer to make an offer. So what's generally going to happen is the objections are going to come out. Well, they said they liked it, but they didn't want to insult you by offering $450. Well, they said they liked it, but the closets were a little small. So your third question, no matter what they say, guys, I don't care if they tell you they loved it, but the sky was blue that day. No matter what they tell you, you're going to ask them a third question. At what price would they purchase this home? Because here's what's going to happen with the majority of the buyer's agents you speak to. You're coaching them. They don't know how to sell. They don't know how to talk to their clients. And now you're helping them because what they're going to do is they're going to call their client and say, hey, you know that house we saw over there on Banana Street? Yeah, the agent just called me and she's like asking me what you would buy the house for. So they're going to get you an answer. And you're probably going to put together about 5 or 6 more deals than you would have if you hadn't have asked that question. So people ask me all the time, how are you getting so many offers? Because I'm asking for them. Because I'm coaching the buyer's agent on how to do their job. And if we think that we're too good to talk to people, you might as well quit the business, honey. Because a lot of your job is playing nice in the sandbox and helping people. You know, you were once an agent that needed help too. I was once an agent that needed help. I still need help. So it's okay to tell people, hey, look, I get it. You know, you're new to this. Here's some questions to ask your buyer. Let me know how I can help you. And you have to give this feedback to all of your sellers in a very professional manner. So you see how we have it written, making an offer, no, no, yes. At what price would you make an offer? Well below list, but can't blah, 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 blah. You're going to give your clients all of the information that the buyer's agent shared with you. So what do you think happens when your client, your seller, sees all of this information? If you tell them the price is too high, you're a jerk, right? If the buyers tell them, I'd pay 300, I'd pay 330, I'd pay well before list price. What do you think the seller starts to realize? what the buying public is saying about their home. Because the seller doesn't give a crap what you have to say. They think you're an idiot realtor anyway, but they care what buyers would pay for their home. So if you have a listing at 500,000 and you get 10 buyers agents that tell you, hey, they would spend 450 for this house, what does your seller now know about the home? Do they know that the price needs to be adjusted to 450? Now, how much more powerful is that for you as the agent, right? You're not the jerk anymore. The buyers are talking to the sellers about what they would spend on their home. Again, this is the service you have to provide as a professional. The reason why we are listing more properties, the reason why we are selling more homes is because we are actually doing our job. Our job is to help sellers self-discover what their homes are worth, and it's also to help them get every penny possible. So here's the contrary. And if you're a seller, you can appreciate this. Do you wish that your agent would have shared this with you because you would have had information to make an educated decision? I'm assuming you do. Because instead, all they did was tell you lower the price, and you didn't know why. So in the past 6 months, your home has been sitting on the market, and when you could have gotten 450, you now have to reduce to 425 because the market continued to go down and your agent did not do their job to share that information with you. Again, this is just a matter of us learning how to do our job better. And we owe it to our clients to provide them this professional feedback. I do it every Tuesday. The reason why I do it on Tuesdays is usually because Mondays are the days, since I do have a lot of listings where offers come in. So I like to talk to all the agents, all the buyers that I'm personally working with on my own deals. And then I give the feedback on Tuesday in the form of this report. Okay, so the next section. So you guys kind of you understand showings and feedback and how to do that. Again, if you have a lot of listings in your inventory, I have a script that your assistant can use. It's basically those 3 questions. You as the agent, if you're going to have your assistant do it, you need to look at the feedback from your assistant. And whenever anyone says, yes, my client is interested in making an offer, or if you read the objections and you think, I think there could be an offer in here, you need to get on the phone with them. You should be, as the agent, no matter how busy you are, speaking with all potential offering parties every week. You owe that to your seller. Market statistics. Again, this is another section for your clients to understand fair market value. And it's also for you, right? Because, in 2020 or 2021, there were times where we underpriced a property, right? Because the market was moving faster up than we could keep up with. Now, obviously, in today's market, it's going the opposite direction. So either way, you have to understand what fair market value is or appraisal value is, and you and your client need to make adjustments based upon that information and that data. Okay, so average days on market at this particular point in time, it was 58. They were competing with 8 other homes in their direct market, along with new builds. You present them with all the inventory so they can take a look at it themselves. You give them everything that's gone under contract. Now, why is this important for them to know what's gone under contract? You as a seller, you probably want to know, okay, I've been on the market for 30 days and these 5 other people were picked. Why? Why were these 5 other homes chosen? And sometimes what happens is you start to see patterns. Okay, well, I'm listed at 500,000 and these 5 homes were listed between 450 and 475. So it'll tell you price is the issue. Sometimes there's other issues. Well, I've been on the market for 30 days while these 5 homes were chosen. Those 5 homes are all single story homes and I have a 2-story. Again, price is the only way to fix that. You have to make yourself competitive if a 2-story home is not something that buyers are looking for in your market. This information, if you can learn how to read between the lines, is going to tell you a lot about why your home isn't selling. Now, the last one is the most important to you. The homes that are sold in the last 90 days. Fannie and Freddie appraisal guidelines is homes sold within the last 90 days, within a quarter mile, within 10% of the size and condition of your property. If you're listed at 500,000 and every home in your neighborhood in the past 90 days has sold for 450, you're going to have a problem with appraisal. And you need to know that, because your agent, if you know you're not going to appraise, is either going to have to negotiate an appraisal waiver for you up front to where you don't have to worry about the appraisal, or they're going to have to negotiate a higher down payment so that it's not going to matter. Either way, you need to know what the other homes are selling for if your buyer that you're working with is getting a loan, because banks are not going to loan more than a home is worth. If it's a cash buyer, probably no big deal. These are very complicated concepts, so if you need to understand more about appraisal value and why it affects you, feel free to reach out to me individually. I'm happy to, really go over it and answer any questions you have. I think you get the gist of it. So again, why are we doing this every week? Believe it or not, markets shift very quickly, especially when you're talking about the spring and summertime. Week to week, you can see vast differences. And it's really important for you and your client to be aware of what's going on in your direct neighborhood. A lot of things can directly affect you in a short period of time. Was there a natural disaster that happened? Hurricanes, tornadoes, all these types of things affect home value. Was there a change in politics that make a difference in the local home sales? Is there a new home builder that's putting up brand new homes right behind your community? All of these differences have a big effect on what you can get for your property, and your agent should be staying on top of it week by week and providing you with that feedback so you can decide what's best for you as the homeowner. And then lastly, in your weekly market report, you're going to provide recommendations. Now, keep in mind, you're the realtor, right? This is not your asset. At the end of the day, whatever a seller wants to do, you have to respect and support them. There are going to be sellers that are just not logical at all. You're going to have sellers that built that home with their hands. You're going to have sellers that grew up in that house. And their kids grew up in that house, and their grandmother grew up in that house. There are going to be a lot of things that you just don't understand, but you're going to have to respect as their agent. So keep in mind, when you're giving people recommendations, all of your recommendations should be based on data and reading the data. Recommendations based on broker and buyer feedback. In order to be attractive to today's buyers, the price requires an adjustment. When asking potential buyers what they would pay for the home, we learned that $300 and $330 are the amounts buyers have viewed your home and would pay for your property. Pricing rule of thumb. I add this to every single weekly market report because it's simply a fact. I've been doing this now for 6-7 years actively, and no matter how much I wanted to fight the paint and make this different, it's just a fact. I'm sorry, but it is. No matter how great of an agent you are, you cannot make a home worth 10% more than it is. So, pricing rule of thumb, and again, this is even when we don't want it to be true, it is. No showings, you're 10% overpriced. Showings and no offers, you're 5% overpriced. Multiple offers in less than 7 days, you are 2% underpriced. So number one is ignore what the market is telling us about price and leave the list price at $385,000. With this strategy, it could take 60, 90, 120 days or longer for the market to come to us. 2, reduce the price to a price that will cause the home to sell. Get your cash out and move on with your life. Based on the 10% rule and the feedback from buyers, it looks like fair market value will fall somewhere between $335 and $350. A reduction to $346,500 will bring traffic and offers. Based on what you are looking to accomplish and why, which option serves you better? Option A. Do you prefer we leave the list price as is and extend the listing term so we can get the job done for you no matter how long it takes. Option B, do you prefer we reduce the list price immediately so that we can begin negotiating offers for the highest possible price in the shortest period of time? We support you, whatever you decide is best for you and your family. I would not be doing my job if I did not make you aware of these facts. Thank you again for the opportunity to be of service. Now, again, I want you to understand that recommendations, is this very different than your home is overpriced, reduce the price? It is. I like to talk to people how I want to be talked to. Sometimes sellers, like I said, they're very emotionally attached to a property. And for whatever reason, even though all the data tells them to reduce the price, they're simply not going to do it. You as the agent, you have the opportunity to do two things. You can either, one, terminate the listing and let them list with somebody else, or as I have stated here, which we prefer to do, support them in their journey and give them as much time as they need to allow them to let the market come to them. So you have to be sincere in providing option A. When you say to somebody, yes, I'm going to work with you however long it takes, support them. You don't want to continuously tell them how they're overpriced because they've already shared with you they're not going to drop the price and they're willing to wait however long it takes. That's fine. Support them in their journey. Just extend the listing. I would not continue to weekly market reports. I would do them monthly in that case, because they've already told you they don't want to reduce the price, right? And they're not in any hurry to sell the home. So you'll do monthly market reports, and maybe you list that property for a year until the market comes to you. Now, in the case of option B, which is going to be the majority of sellers you're working with, they want to get the home sold. And they're looking to you for guidance on what is the proper price reduction. So based on that 10, 5, and 2% rule, the fact that this home only had no showings and just a few visitors to the open house, it is 10% overpriced. So technically, we should have reduced the price. 10% of 385 would be 38,000, and that's where we're at, the 346,500 number. I hope that you got a ton of value out of this today. I can't believe I just spent almost 50 minutes talking about a weekly market report. I really like to be detailed so that I'm not just, I don't know about you guys, but it kind of irritates me when I watch coaches online and you could tell that they're not really doing the work and they're kind of just telling you to do things they've never done. That really aggravates me. So I always try to give you something that will help you to make more money and that will make a lot of sense for you.